My name is James Goulding, editor of Business Info magazine. Today we're joined by Georgina Pavlin, marketing manager for Olympus UK, and Sebastian Darlan, European product manager for Olympus, to talk about developments in digital dictation.
How has the past year been for Olympus Dictation?
It's been fantastic. So Olympus are preparing to celebrate 100 years as a brand. I believe from an audio perspective, the first recorder launched back in the 60s. And what we're seeing now currently is how much it's evolved over those years. Business professionals looking for a complete solution, kind of gone are the days of reels of tape or even tape-based machines where they're using a dictation device for kind of one purpose. We're seeing a complete solution request as the needs have evolved and how people are looking at efficiency and cost savings to benefit a business.
Yeah, I fully agree. And for me, it was also a very exciting year. I'm really optimistic in looking to the future because you see speech recognition and dictation is becoming more and more all over. And not only in the classic user groups we have since, as Georgina says, since the 60s, where we did the classic dictation. Now in private life and in professional life, speech recognition is increasingly demand. And we as Olympus really try to do with certain partners to make this usable for all kinds of user groups. And from my perspective, it starts to making really fun with speech recognition and without. But we are somehow the guide to assist and to guide the users how to use it and for which use cases they can use it. So I'm really looking forward to the next year, and yeah, will be a very exciting year.
How do you see the future of dictation in the workplace?
I expect it to continue to evolve. So we are, as Sebastian was saying, we're finding that speech recognition is becoming increasingly popular. I think where people essentially trialled it when it first launched a few decades ago, they're now ready to try it again, and they're seeing how much it has progressed in that time. There's definitely some great benefits for a busy professional. I think nowadays the demands on individuals and resources are more stretched. So anything that we can do to support end users with delivering more within less time can benefit the business, can benefit their customers, and ultimately improve efficiencies all round.
Yeah, and I think what's just very interesting is since we started as a purely hardware manufacturer, we have recognized that the software and the hardware really has to play together so that the end customer, so the user, and especially, which is our main target group, the professional customers, that they get their added value out of it. And they always want to be more productive than just typing by themselves. So that we need really to guide them, to train them together with our partners, that how to use it, when to use it, so that they really work more efficiently. And I think we are on a good path to do it. And yeah, that's going to be our mission, I think, that they're going to have this added value compared to solutions and speech recognition solutions which are made for private customers, because the requirements are really significantly different, and we are targeting the professional ones.
How do organisations and individuals benefit from using digital dictation?
I think obviously where dictation has been around for decades and it's been proven as an efficiency tool, you've got some cases and a lot of our case studies that are using it really effectively, and they're showing kind of a high figure budget savings, efficiency benefits, and a lot of overall benefits for their businesses. But in the same way, you've got the other end of the spectrum where people maybe are still buying a voice recorder and not necessarily using it to the maximum potential. I think for me it's an education message. We've still got users out there that run analogue machines or tape-based machines, depending on the environment that they're dictating and what they are dictating. You've got confidentiality issues, you've got efficiency issues there where with physical tapes, or even the way that digital files can be saved or accessed. It can be restrictive, which means that there can be a delay, and then it results in a backlog, which then can create negative ways. So for me, it's a real educational message, supporting our customers so that they can use the hardware with some of our partner software, and to utilise and maximise those benefits that are available to them.
Yeah. As Georgina says, it's the kind of educational and consulting part which is really in our times needed, because our customers are working already with other IT systems, and it does not make sense to just give them a piece of hardware and say, okay, do whatever you want with it. That will not be successful. So they need to get our guidance and our expertise to know, okay, this is working with this software, with this operating systems, and this text should end up in this certain hospital information system, or could be even in Word, or another archives or documentation system. So that's where we come and where we assist them. And hardware, software, and the user scenario, that must fit, and then it's becoming professional, not like in consumer products, which is more or less, here you have it, and you have to decide by yourself what you're going to do with it. So we consult them and make the solution successful.
I think as well it's part of listening to each customer, listening to each application. So whether you've got a medical user or a business professional, each person has a different requirement. So I think it's listening to them, understanding their needs. Speech recognition is a really popular subject matter for a lot of these individuals, but it's not necessarily just the hardware or the software and working it all together. It's how we dictate, and it's a bit of a discipline. You've got a lot of users that have been doing it for some time, but obviously you've also got new people to the equipment, and it's you have to work out a bit of a method to again maximise something like speech recognition. You've got to have the quality recorders and the clear dictation to get the best out of it.
Right, exactly. That's why we as Olympus in this professional environment understand us now as a speech documentation solution provider. It always starts with speech, no matter how you record it. We guide you and assist you and make our recommendations, and the end is always the documentation. So the buzzword is speech to text, but actually just having the text somewhere, I think that's not enough. We need to make sure that it's documented properly, and that's our lawyers and physicians. That's part of their business to make their money, to document stuff. And there we guide them and do not leave them alone just with recording voice. And that's the future, and that's, I think, what the users need from our side.
Digitization has been adopted through different areas of the workplace. Why do users still cling to analog tape-based dictation machines?
Well, I think analog has been a very popular method for dictation. The way I can kind of describe it is it's like VHS, DVD. It's like desktops, computers to tablets, I suppose. So it takes some people longer than others to evolve and to adapt to new ways. Again, it's an educational message for me. It's helping people with the benefits of going to digital. Again, depending on what your dictation, if it's confidential information, digital really is a must. There's been instances in the news where people have lost tapes and people's private data is then at risk. I think there's been cases where there's been some hefty fines as well applied to where data hasn't been protected, and there's a lot of laws that we've got to abide by. We were talking earlier about we've got 256-bit encryption on the recorders, but again, when you're storing that data, allowing people to access it, it's really important to protect it and to be able to trace it. By having digital format, it also means that there's transparency, it supports efficiency. You don't end up with a very stressed out secretary with piles of tapes taking over her desk. It can be all electronically accessed, and multiple people can support the workflow then, and whether it's transcribing manually, whether it's using speech recognition, you can outsource it. But there are more opportunities for different users when you've got a digital recorder. I think the benefits are just drastic. It will take some longer than others to adopt it. Olympus always try and support that transition, whether it's having a trial of one of the digital recorders or or trialing out some software or working with us so we can make sure any switch is as clean and easy as possible. I think it's important for a manufacturer to support the customer.
Yeah, since you're mentioning the analog dictation, from product manager's perspective, it's really interesting to see this kind of habits. I think it's obvious that digital dictation is much more efficient, and especially because we're living in a digital world, so it does not make sense at all to use analog tapes and paying for every analog cassette. I don't want to mention all the disadvantages, but the fascinating to see is to observe is that humans are tending to habits. So it's just the difficulty to change their habits, and not because someone is questioning the advantages of the other technology. So that's where we come into place as Olympus and our partners, to show them and take them the fear to change to obviously more beneficial, more efficient way of working. But I saw it by myself that it's difficult to change my own habit. Now I changed it to digital or dictating with speech recognition, but it needs some time to change yourself, to improve yourself. Good thing is it's not questioned anymore, but we need to just help the users to change. And looking forward to it.
Are new markets emerging for digital dictation, and which vertical markets are particularly strong for you?
I think there are some well-established sectors that do seem to use dictation more heavily than others. The medical profession is a key one. We have a lot of NHS customers, and I'd say legal as well. It seems to be they're kind of heavy dictation. It's confidential data, and these guys really benefit from using the dictation recorders. I would say we're also seeing growth in new markets, whether it's accountants, surveyors, it's even just business professionals who are using their recorder to dictate after a meeting, so that the information is fresh and still in their mind, so that it's more accurate to people who are using, even dictating in the car or recording mileage for or admin tasks. The opportunities are endless, and we are seeing a lot more of an increase in different users and different applications. Obviously, we design the product specifically based on what the customers need. We are seeing definitely more and more people using it.
Yeah, in the past or up to now, the majority who's using dictation is always this kind of collaboration and outsourcing some tasks. So the author is focusing on the content and is just dictating it and then sending it to a typist. So there's always needed some kind of team who's working together. So you need an assistant, secretary, typist, something like this. With speech recognition now, which has now really, really amazing kind of accuracy level, or I would call it maturity level. So now you do not necessarily have to have this kind of assistant. So you can do it already by yourself. So there the use cases are increasingly dramatically. So not just top management can benefit from the technology speech to text. So now everybody can have it. Just we need to tell them how it fits best to your use case. So I would not limit it anymore to certain industry sectors. Now everybody can use it. We just need to guide them when and where and how.
I would say as well, we're focusing on business professionals, medical, legal, and kind of top line, but we also have a lot of students use our other lines of products. We have musicians using them. We have a special range for assistive technology, so blind, visually impaired, dyslexic users, and that can be in educational, their personal life or their workplace. There really is a whole range of products available, as well as the business devices that we have. So a lot of people are benefiting.
What trends do you see developing in 2017?
So Olympus are continuing to work with our customers and deliver based on what they're asking for, what applications they need and what technology advances that they're asking for. One of the things that we are finding is that multi-user working, multi-sites, and being able to access dictation and the files from different areas. For example, with GP practices, you might have 2 or 3 GP practices that are all quite small. who don't necessarily have kind of secretaries and dedicated staff. So they might like to each have the hardware or the dictation methods, but then have a server or a central place to store this information so that it can be accessed. It allows more transparency, higher efficiency, and a lot more benefits. So we're looking at working with partners and delivering on the demands from our customers.
Yeah, and I think in the next years, especially in the professional business, it's the demand will increase in terms of having secure solutions. And we were experiencing in the last years all this data leakages, the WikiLeaks. So I think this is now aware in every country that if you have this multi-site systems, you need to have a professional one. So in best case, that it's hosted by yourself and not in any public cloud. And that this is what we and our partners are providing to them. It's still the end customer's decision, but we strongly recommend that you should have this private network where you host your solution itself, so that everything is safe, and we provide the security tools to do this.
Olympus has always been strong in R&D. Are there any new products in the pipeline you can tell us about?
Yes, but none that we can talk about. No, I would say, as I've kind of alluded to already, we're constantly developing new products in all of our different categories, really, and it's based on customer demand and customer feedback. We'll have some exciting things ahead, I'm sure.
But you can be sure that there's still something in the pipeline, but we will still keep on focusing on our principles in terms of reliability, and which is more and more required and I think appreciated. It's all about usability. So we do not develop our hardware and software tools just in our own room. So we work with end customers. We work with our solution partners who develop their own software solutions, so that everything fits together and that in the end it is usable. And this is what is needed and where the future is, I think.
Watch this space.
Yeah.
How is Olympus taking on the challenge of providing speech recognition software?
Okay, so this is obviously one of the buzz things at the minute that everybody's pretty keen on, and I think speech recognition's evolved much as the recorders have. I think it's definitely more accurate now. I think Olympus work very closely with a lot of the speech recognition providers to ensure that the recorders and the microphones that you're using ensure maximum output and benefits to the speech recognition software. So yeah, we can partner up with lots of different people to support these sorts of requests and applications. As I was saying, a lot of it is an educational thing. It's making sure that your dictation style is strong and clear, but also a lot of it is making sure that the hardware is supporting the speech recognition software and that it's a good enough quality to get the results and to make it all worthwhile, really.
Wow. And I think in the past, very few years ago, there was only one provider for speech recognition, and now more and more companies are showing off, and we work with all of them globally together. So, and in the future, you can be sure that wherever you plug in our recorders or microphones, it will work perfectly together. That's, I think, what is really important for us, that you don't have to think about it. Will it work or not? It will work.
Do you have any advice for people considering taking up digital dictation?
That's a very good question. And I have to admit, if you're really new in that world, dictation world, it's quite tricky, but it's not that much. So basically, we differentiate between stationary dictation and mobile dictation. So as a user perspective, you can do it everywhere, but you have to know which tool you're using in which use case. For instance, we have this kind of mobile devices. This is from our product, from our professional product range. That means It has kind of slide switch where you can record your dictation in a kind of comfortable manner. You don't have to do this or do this. You always can have it very naturally in your hand, and you can edit the file all the time without looking at it. And if it comes to use it together with speech recognition, in this case mostly it's background speech recognition, so you record, send the file somewhere, and it's being transcribed by the speech recognition engine. The good thing is you dictate it, recording, and once you stop, you go into stop, because you need to think about it, what you say next. And once you continue dictating, you just go into recording again and speak again. And in the end, you will not have any background noises or crazy talkings from the background in between. So there's only the relevant content in the dictation file. The same comes along with the stationary dictation devices, or USB microphones, how we call it as well. You always have to plug it into your computer. And it's a kind of interface or input device for speech, but it's much more than just the microphone in here, which is already designed just to catch your voice or speech and without background noises. But if you use it together with real-time speech recognition, for instance, you always dictate in it, and you immediately, when you stop dictating and think again about it, you deactivate the speech recognition by pushing a button. The benefit of it is the speech recognition does not have to listen further, which distracts the engine actually, and in worst case just crazy tipping or any other background noise is creating crazy new words. So that's what we are facing if some newbies in dictation facing, it does not work. But with our devices, you only catch the relevant content, and then it makes much more fun to use it because you don't have any errors anymore. This is kind of nice, and you can also put some commands which are relevant for dictating or controlling your computer on any button however you want. You can customize it for your purposes, and you do not have to memorize all the commands or saying a punctual or new line. You can just put it on a button, and then it's becoming more intuitive. And in the end, everything is designed that it makes fun in the end, and only technology or tools which make fun are being used. So that's why it's important to use our devices, and especially the professional range, because we put many thoughts since more than 40 years into it, how to use it. And it's not just a recorder. And that's why we also work with other companies together with the software, speech recognition engines, and also specialized software solutions for certain industry sectors. So not lawyers or physicians, they want to have their use cases reflected in the complete solution so that they're going to use it and they benefit from it. But they just come to us, and we help you to find the right partner to do this, and then you can start using dictation.